Hello everyone, welcome to this video on haikus. Haikus, what are they? Well, haikus are a form of Japanese poems. Haikus are used to paint a picture in the reader's mind. These poems do not rhyme. Let's look at the characteristics of a haiku. So, haikus are composed of 3 lines. In total, a haiku has 17 syllables. This works out as having 5 syllables on the first line, 7 syllables on the second line, and 5 syllables on the third line. Haikus are used to describe the beauty of nature. As well, we use our senses when we are reading or writing haikus. Let's look at this example of a haiku. Green and speckled legs, hops on logs and lily pads, splash in cool water. This haiku is talking about a frog in nature. So it meets one of the criterias that it's about nature. As well, it uses the senses, right? We can imagine a frog hopping and splashing into cool water, right? We can think of cold water, we can hear the sound of a splash, and we can think and see different lily pads and logs in our minds. So it's about a form of nature, and it applies to the senses. But let's check the syllables. Let's look at line 1, green and speckled legs. Let's clap those syllables. Green and speckled legs. Green and speckled legs. That's 5 syllables. So right there, check. We know that the first line is so far meeting the criteria to be a haiku. Let's look at the second line. Hops on logs and lily pads. Let's count the syllables. Hops on logs and lily pads. Hops on logs and lily pads. 7 syllables. That also meets the criteria for the second line of a haiku. Finally, let's look at the last line. Splash in cool water. Let's count those syllables with a clap. Splash in cool water. Splash in cool water. 5 syllables. So in total, there's 17 syllables, 5 on the first line, 7 on the second line, and 5 in the final line. So this meets all the criteria of a haiku. Let's do some haiku practice. I have provided you with the first line and the third line of a haiku about green elms. You can see green elms in this picture here. Take a moment to think of what line 2 could be, and remember, line 2 of a haiku must have 7 syllables. The best way to determine how many syllables are in a word is to do the clapping method. Clap it out. Go ahead and try this. Nice job. Now it's your turn. The directions for this activity is to look at this picture of nature. You are going to write a haiku about this picture. Remember, the first line can only be 5 syllables. The second line can only be 7 syllables. And the third line is 5 syllables. Haikus do not have to rhyme, so please don't stress yourself about that. Go ahead, look at this picture, think of how you can describe the beauty of the nature that is this picture using your senses and meeting the criteria of a 5-7-5 haiku. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllable haiku. Remember, if you need to, clap out the syllables. Best of luck. Let's try it one more time. Again, look at this picture of nature. Write a haiku about it. Remember, the first line can only be 5 syllables. The second line can only be 7 syllables. The third line is 5 syllables. They do not have to rhyme. Take a moment to look at this beautiful picture of nature. Write a haiku about it, and make sure to try and use the senses. And always clap it out if you need to check for syllables counting. Thank you for watching.